Welcome, weary traveler. You have stumbled across a comedy chronicle of cranial concoctions, a frenzied fusion of befuddled fables, an exacting expose on eclectic mythos. Should you brave ahead, you will find yourself enlightened, delighted, and only slightly misinformed on the many fantastical worlds that exist within our favorite media. Will you learn all there is to know? That I cannot say. But I can say it will be the lore you know.
Me and Ethan are creating this these whatever accounts to play multiverses with each other, and then it's the WB, right? So it has to like check to make sure that you're like of age so that you can consent to having all of your data collected or whatever. And then it pops up with a screen. It's like, what is your age? And then it gives you a bunch of buttons, and it's got one button and it's like less than 7 years old. It's like, all right. And then it goes button by button. So it's like 8 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old. Mm-hmm. And then it goes all the way up. Every single age is its own button until it gets to 22. And then it says 22. And then it says over 22 as the last button you can press. And there's something about an oppressive screen of ages that's gating you into playing a children's video game that you're like, well, I'm none of these, am I? That really makes you reconsider if playing video games and doing a podcast about them is the best thing to do with one's life.
Anyways, welcome to The Lore You Know, a podcast where three friends and sometimes more dive into the fantastical and often convoluted lore of media that we grew up with and love, including those oppressive age screens. And here to bring you the mostly correct facts about made-up things this week are me, Fran, your lore master.
Oh, geez, heck, I'm Ethan.
And I'm CJ. I can't wait to feel under 22 again. If I make a video game, I'm going to make it so that you put in your age and it is like under 48. And then it goes sequentially up until like 57. And then you have to put over 57. And I don't know what kind of video games late 40s people like. Well, not late 40s, like from the late 40s.
The age bracket should be based on like boomers and X's, right? The Gen X.
Oh yeah, no.
Shouldn't
okay,
it be by
so here,
generation?
Yeah, no, it's like a World of Warcraft game where everyone has their own faction, except in this one, it's literally just generational warfare. So you select which generation you, I guess, identify with, because who's gonna pick one that they're not? Like, I don't want to be on the Zoomer team. That sounds exhausting. Could you imagine playing a massively I mean, that's just Fortnite, I guess, at that point. And
I think Fortnite's even younger than Zoomers though. That's like Gen Alpha or whatever.
That's
because
not a
Zoomers
thing.
are like in their early 20s now.
No, that's not a thing. That's not correct.
You're telling me you're telling me that Zoomers are pressing the plus 22 button? I don't want to believe that.
They are.
I refuse.
I don't know.
22
I'm
and
still
up is like Zoomers now. You guys are baby millennials, I think.
Sure. I am fine with this. But I want to get back to CJ's game idea here, because I really like that if you can go into an age bracket of your choice, all of the trolls are going to become boomers and then oppressively destroy all of us, and it will in that way
it will be the exact It will be exactly this. It's like an immersive experience. It's perfect.
It's pretty much just VR chat at that point, then, with factions.
VR chat where instead of looking like anime girls, everybody wants to look like the old man next door who shouts slurs at you.
And that's how you pick your races, is that instead of races, it's just like different, like.
Oh, okay. Nonsense. I thought you were going to be like whatever's in meta. So if you're a boomer, you maybe want to choose, I don't know, a white guy, because that's sort of the boomer
the dad
meta.
bod, yeah. And then
all right.
the NXs are just like, I don't know, man. What are Gen X's these days?
We would all just kill ourselves inside the video game, so it wouldn't really matter what we choose. Fran, I feel like I'm a million years old. Do you have anything you can share with me
That'll remind you of your childhood?
to make me feel young again, like I'm not
Yes.
trapped inside of an aging flesh prison?
In fact, I can. So, this week's topic is actually, at least from my childhood and CJ's childhood, apparently Ethan has no recollection of it. It's the Magic Treehouse series. So, for those of you who don't know what the Magic Treehouse series is, it's a series of chapter books that were written for elementary aged children. And I personally was I got banned from reading them by my parents because I kept reading them and they were too easy for me and I was sad. But that's my own
I thought it was
personal
because of the controversial topics. I thought they were like banned books. They would talk
No,
about
the
like
magical elements of the book is pretty subdued, so like it skirts through the Christian censors.
oh, that's nice.
But
Okay.
so these are chapter books written for like it's like elementary school children's like first chapter book kind of thing. So like you're in like first grade trying to like go into like longer form books as opposed to picture books. So they're published by Mary Pope Osborne and the series was first published in 1992. They're still
No.
being released. They haven't gone anywhere. But
That's simply not possible.
they are still being published. There's multiple books coming out this year. So there's two types of books in the series. There's like the main Magic Treehouse line, and so those are the shorter books for beginner chapter readers. All the books are 10 chapters long. And then there's the Merlin mission books. From what I could see when they were published, the Merlin missions were trying to like grow up with the reader. So like you have the beginning chapter books, and then there are
Those
like,
ones
the longer form chapter books as opposed
those
to
ones are banned books because of how much they talk about like puberty and drugs and stuff.
I mean,
And
there were
magic.
ages 7 through
and,
10.
and magic, but like radical black magic that the Christians are afraid of.
It's
It's all
actually
metal and shit. I'm gonna tell you, Fran, you've grouped me in with you, but I told you guys when we started this podcast, and I maintain it now, I will not read a word for you or anyone else. So I have seen these books, but I never read nothing.
well, that's okay. I'm here to summarize all the important bits for you, which I'm going to do my best not to summarize each book, but it's going to be a lot of interactive things because part of the books involves like riddles and stuff. And I'm going to see if you guys can solve the riddles made for literal children. They find a book in the treehouse. They point at it and wish to go to the place inside the book. There's big whooshy noises and the treehouse spins and they show up in the time period of the book. Then the book conveniently has all the information they need to solve any riddle or puzzle that they have in front of them when they land. And then
Right.
Jack, the main character, one of the main characters in the series, takes silly notes because he's like 10. Oh, he's 8. Sorry. He's 8 years old. And then his sister, Annie, who's 7, has a way with animals. To be
Wait, is she
plot
like a
point later.
druid? Or
Kind of. She like can communicate with them without communicating.
That's completely different than having a way with animals.
Anyway,
Like,
it's implied.
zookeepers have a way with animals.
Well, so
A child who can speak and commune with nature is just an
She-
entirely different thing.
well, it's implied that she has like a special way to communicate with them, but that's like revealed over the course of the 28 books. So,
Okay, some mystery.
and then they solve whatever riddle or nonsense they were trying to do. Go back to the treehouse, point to a book that's conveniently about their hometown, and say, "I want to go home," and then they go home, and woo!
Is the home book always in the same spot?
It's always in the
Or do
treehouse
they-
somewhere.
I'm
Oh, well, yeah, like you would want that one in
Yeah,
there.
yeah, it's important.
I'm imagining that's how the Merlin missions start. Is they have one of these regular adventures and they go back there. Where's the book home? Where's the book?
Well, there is some implications of like PTSD in these children later on.
Yeah, no
Actually,
shit.
it's
If you got
fucking wild.
teleported, do they go back to a war? If any of them
Yeah.
goes back to a war, then yeah,
Multiple.
the horrors of war is a well-documented thing
Mhm.
that affects people for years to come. And these are children.
Yeah.
Although so were those brave men that we sent over there. Am I right, Ethan?
We'll touch upon the horrors of
Ethan-
war and PTSD
You know,
later.
Ethan's never been in a war, by the way. I just want to clarify that in case that was ambiguous. Hey, what the fuck, bud? What did you read as a kid, if not shit like this?
Yeah, what books did you read?
I read The Hobbit. Um,
Ooh, la la! Look at you.
I'm reading The
Your
Hobbit
Your
at
parents,
6 years
your
old.
parents bought you books.
Fucking, what answer would I possibly give to this? Where you'd be like, "Oh, classy."
The
It's
Boxcar Children? Like
The
Encyclopedia
Bible.
Brown?
All right, I probably
Old and
should,
New Testament.
I probably should have been reading the Bible. I do remember reading the
Heathen.
first Boxcar Children.
Yeah,
I thought you were gonna say the first Bible, and I was like, yeah, I mean the first
I
one
read
was the better one.
I read
Oh,
the
goodness.
first in
All
the
right.
series, but then they had this main character take over. I was not a fan.
Yeah, it was so
Real
stupid. I hate
Mary
when they
Sue.
take. I hate when they take a good story and then they're like, and now they have kids, and we're gonna follow their kids' story. That's so
Uh-huh.
stupid.
No, I was just CJ. I just kind of realized that Jesus is a Mary Sue for God, the author of the Bible.
He was like, "Hey, things are going shit down there. I'm gonna show them how it's
That's a
done."
self-insert.
Ethan, you can't say that. The Christians will come for you.
All our Christian viewers.
All of them.
Um,
I did read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, though, so I basically read the Bible as a kid.
Allegory.
Mhm.
Do they go back to biblical times in this one, Fran? That would be the one I want to read.
no, they do
Fuck,
not.
that's
She does not touch
so-
upon that.
That's such a missed opportunity. It's like, we're going back in time to see the Prophet
I
Muhammad.
don't know if they do that in the Merlin missions or not.
They're
but
so
at least in the 28.
hardcore. They're so hardcore in the Merlin missions.
Hold on, they're trying
Hold
to
on, I
like
can look.
collect.
I can
They're
look.
trying to like collect a pantheon of heroes for their fighting or whatever. And they're like, we're going to need the most powerful mages from all across time. Jesus, Muhammad, Moses, other ones from other religions. I went to public school, so sorry.
Okay, I need to know more about the Magic Treehouse.
Yeah, so in the Magic Treehouse books of 1 through 28, she did something interesting where she made all 4 books like part of the same arc. So every 4 books, there's like an overarching like task or mission that they're trying to go on, and then each book is like a specific thing for that overall mission, which is somewhat cool, especially for that young of readers, since it's like, yes, it's like episode of the week or mission of the week style, but there's also like overarching plot, which is a harder thing for those children to learn. And so it's just kind of like a fun way to structure it.
How did these children find this magic tree house?
Well, Jack and Annie find a treehouse in the woods near their home. They're just kind of like walking home from doing kids stuff, unsupervised, and they're like, "Hey, there's a treehouse up in that tree. That's new. Let's go
Throwing
check it out."
rocks at cars and stuff, and they're
Yeah,
like,
who
I don't
knows?
know, man.
Who
Just
knows?
hoodlum shit.
It's just
Yeah.
talking to animals like kids
whatever
do.
8 and 7-year-olds do. And Jack is such a bookworm that he's so excited to see the treehouse is filled with books when they find it. He's
Okay,
like, "Oh my
I wanna
god, books!"
Beat up this little nerd.
And Annie's like, "Books are dumb. Why are you so excited?"
Yeah, Annie.
Boom.
Fuck yeah,
Because
dude.
girls-
I'm on it. I'm a
Girls
team Annie.
hate reading. Books
Girls
are not
do
for
hate
girls,
reading.
obviously.
I think girls hate reading. I think boys hate
Mhm.
reading. I think
Ye-
reading's dumb.
Yeah, no, books aren't for boys. They're just for dorks.
Well, and just
Yeah,
like a
that's true.
dorky boy, he finds a book about dinosaurs and he's like, "Dinosaurs are awesome." And he opens up the book and is like, "Dude, I really wish we could go see a dinosaur." And as it happens, that's the magical thing that triggers the magic treehouse to transport them to the time of the dinosaurs. And when they arrive there, there's a pteranodon outside their window. And it's a friendly pteranodon going like, "Hey, how you guys doing?"
I don't know dinosaur types.
It's a
which one? Is
flying
that
one. It's a flying
Oh,
dinosaur.
okay.
It's a pterosaur.
Okay,
Alright.
sure. And
Um,
he speaks to them in human tongue?
no, it's just like a friendly. You could see it in his eyes, apparently.
Oh,
and
okay.
something.
So like this series isn't really about teaching kids real lessons, like that dinosaurs are dangerous creatures.
No, well, kind of. They do get chased.
What? Why would you need to teach a child that lesson? That's the most absurd. Like, oh, kids, if you ever see a pterodon, don't go up and talk to it. They are not friendly.
That is how my grandmammy taught me, and I was safer for it, CJ.
Ethan still doesn't go into the woods because he's afraid, quote, the witches will get me.
And the pteranodon.
Side note: the title of the books all follow a pattern. So this book is called "Dinosaurs Before Dark," and all of the
Mm.
titles involve like a thing and like a time of day
Okay.
for some
I mean,
reason.
this like as a pitch, this is a home run, especially in the 90s. If you
Yeah.
went into a publishing office and you're like, so I've got these kids and they go back in time and meet dinosaurs. They'd be like, yeah, I don't care what it's about, just
Dude,
publish
Dude,
it.
It's
the
great.
dinosaurs eat the children? No, they're friendly in this one. Well, not very realistic, but show me more.
Whatever, just draw pictures of dinosaurs. I like to think that he went in there and the publicist like got up out of his chair, grabbed him by his collar, pulled him 2 inches from his face and says, hey, you want to be a billionaire? And shoved him out of the way. And it's like, all right, we're going to publish your damn book.
90s
Dinosaurs and
from
children? Children love dinosaurs. Yeah, from book publishing. I don't know how people who write books make money, but I assume they're billionaires.
So the Pteranodon shows up, and somehow Annie can like understand what the Pteranodon's saying because apparently she has a way with animals or something like that. Turns out the Pteranodon's name is Henry. Very friendly.
Okay, no. Okay, empathetic link between animals is so much different than literally understanding the thing animals say to the point of its name that it's given itself. Like if they called it Henry,
CJ, its mom gave him that name.
They go through dinosaur times. They're going like, oh my gosh, dinosaurs are so cool. They write great notes and because he's a nerd and he wants to take good notes of the world around him. And he has the convenient informational book that took them there in the first place. So he reads those passages and he writes down about Triceratops. Nice. That's his note because Triceratops are nice.
that's his note.
He is 8
I
years
always
old.
hated those nerds in school that would highlight their books. Do you know those nerds? Because it's like, dude, it's written right there. Just read it. And he's going a step further where he has a book that contains the information of the thing he's looking at while he's witnessing the thing. And he's like, nah, I gotta write this down. It's like, dude, someone already did.
Someone wrote it down so well that it became a reality.
You teleported to it, my man.
Yep. But he's
what are you doing?
It makes him happy. So anyways, they end up being chased by a T-Rex at some point.
These children are unlikable.
The pterodon helps them out, and through their adventures, they find a gold medallion with the letter M on it, and mysterious. And they have to figure out who it belongs to, obviously.
For Treehouse.
M for Treehouse, yes. So through the chasing of a T-Rex and stuff, they end up back in the treehouse, and like, how the hell do we get back to Pennsylvania? And they conveniently find a book.
thing that no one has ever asked themselves before.
I know, right? They conveniently find a book about their hometown, Frog Creek, Pennsylvania, and they point to it in which they can go back home, and it works. The implication of this whole like time travel, book travel nonsense, they leave and they come back to the exact time that they left. So they come back to present time, no time has passed. So
But do they have they aged? Yeah,
I don't know.
Have they aged though?
They could be in the book for days. Who knows?
So if they go back to dinosaur times for 5 years and train, can they come back to this moment with all the strength that they have obtained to fight the boss that they're trying to fight?
There are some wild implications of this book travel nonsense that I've noted throughout. So we'll get upset later.
We are going under the assumption that this is hyperbolic time chamber rules.
Oh, sure. Okay. So then for the rest of the arc, each book is something different. So the second book is The Night at Dawn, and Annie wants to go meet a knight. So they go to a castle and they get thrown in a dungeon and they have to find their way out. Luckily, there's a helpful knight that helps them not be captured. Isn't that great? And
Annie,
they come back.
Annie can understand everything the knight says somehow.
Exactly.
I mean, they would be speaking a different language. Just because it's old English doesn't mean we would be able to understand it. Also, that title slaps, by the way. That kicks ass, dude. A Night at Dawn. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's good. They're good titles. And then they discover in the treehouse all of the books have been conveniently bookmarked, and the bookmarks also have the letter M on them. The mystery.
All right. Well, now it's creepy.
Now
I feel like I am being stalked by M.
And they come to the conclusion that the person who lost the medallion and the person who owns the treehouse must be the same person. crazy. And they
I mean, yes. Like,
Yeah,
how
right?
would you?
Once again, these
It's
books
like,
are written for literal children, so just
okay, yeah.
it's
Because do they think that the dinosaurs made the medallion? I don't think they had the
maybe they
Henry.
had metal forgery. It's Henry's medallion, obviously. M for Henry. So then
Henry.
the next book.
That's stupid.
So the next book is interesting because they go to Egypt. They go to ancient Egypt. They go into a tomb, and there's a ghost spirit that they help out. So it's implying that like ghosts and spirits are real, right? So that's just pin that for later. And then a cat helps them out because they got trapped in the tomb because they went down one of the false passages that they made in pyramids, which was conveniently written about in their book, but they still got lost anyway. And then they come back from Egypt and they notice there's a big fancy golden M on the floor of the treehouse that they didn't notice before. How strange.
That's absurd. So, okay. But are they changing the past? Are they physically going to the past, or are they?
We'll find out soon. Anyway,
Okay.
in Pirates Past Noon, there's Polly the parrot who helps them out also. And they return and they ask themselves the question, who was the M person who put all the books in this library? And did the knight, the pteranodon, the cat, and the parrot all know this M person?
Why didn't they ask?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The answer is yes. So it turns out the parrot that helped them out in the time of the pirates was Morgan Le Fay. She is a beautiful old woman with long white hair and piercing eyes, and she is King Arthur's sister from Camelot.
So the parrot was a person.
The parrot was yes, and every animal that helped them and the knight was her. So she was helping them out.
As she's like a shapeshifter.
She's shapeshifting because she is an enchantress and a librarian, it turns out.
All librarians are enchantresses. I just
And
want you guys
shapeshifters,
to
yes.
know that.
So her job is to travel in this treehouse for the Library of Camelot and to collect books from different places and different time periods for her scribes to copy to add to the library in Camelot.
No,
And
that doesn't make sense. They didn't make books in dinosaur times. There was no one to make the books.
Well,
you can't just say I went to collect a dinosaur book, so I teleported to dinosaur time to get a book from there.
Well, so what happened was she put bookmarks by the picture she'd like to visit. That's where all the bookmarks came from. And she placed spells on the treehouse so she could point to the picture, make a wish, and then the treehouse takes her to that place. So she already had the book. She just wanted to go visit the time of the dinosaurs, I guess. But then when the children visited on accident, she's like, shit, I should probably make sure they don't get eaten by dinosaurs in the book. So that's why she like kind of jumped in and like helped them out.
So does she exist in all times like Doctor Who, or like how would
travels in her treehouse and goes places?
But Merlin times isn't when the kids would have found the treehouse.
Well, Merlin also, like, the time of Camelot also isn't a real thing.
CJ, we already
Camelot's
know
like
she
myth and
has a
legend.
book of their time as well.
She does. She went to the future to get a book on Pennsylvania,
Yes.
a thing that people write.
That's how she got
And
there. Yeah.
then that's how she teleported. And then what? She like went to a Denny's or something and just left the tree there, and
Probably.
then the kids found it or
Yeah.
something. Okay.
So so you might be wondering how
All right,
the
I'm
kids,
back on board.
how did the kids find this treehouse and like no other child has? Turns out Jack and Annie are the only people besides Morgan that can make the treehouse work. And that's because Annie believes in magic. So she saw the treehouse, and Annie's belief was so strong it caused Jack to also see the treehouse. And since Jack loves books so much, the spell worked.
Okay. I
Ooh.
thought it would be more like a dragon blood situation. Like they've got like dragon blood in their veins,
No.
or that.
It's love of books and magic. And the children.
And no other 7
no
and 8-year-old likes
pair
those
of
things.
children can have found this place yet. Anyways, Morgan's like, hey, I'm
Jesus.
Morgan. This is my job. I helped you out. I was all the animals, and now I gotta go. Peace, bye. And then she just takes the magic treehouse and leaves.
What?
That's the end
No.
of Arc 1. The mystery of the magic treehouse.
That is just like Doctor Who. That's bullshit, dude.
So Arc 2 is the mystery of the magic spell. So the treehouse has been gone. Jack and Annie are like, wow, that was a cool time. when we had that cool treehouse and that old lady
And
talk to us.
Did we?
I remember
peek?
like it was yesterday. Jesus.
So weeks had passed since they had seen the treehouse, and the implication this is happening over their summer break. So there has been no sign of the treehouse until tonight. But they get to the treehouse and they climb up hoping to see Morgan, but she's not there. The only thing that is there is a little mouse that gets named Peanut, or somehow tells Annie its name is Peanut, unclear. And it was standing on the golden M that's on the floor of the treehouse. And next to that mouse was a note.
Morgan. She's the mouse now. They named her Peanut.
Well,
did she already shapeshift into other animals? I don't see how that's like a surprise. And she's just standing on her name. Was the note?
It would have made me feel weirder if it wasn't her. Like, it's just from now on, every time I see a character, I'm gonna be like, Morgan, Morgan.
This mouse better not be Morgan, or I'm gonna be pissed off. Because why did they name it Peanut then? If they knew the mouse was Morgan.
So they need to find 4 things to help.
Oh, I'm gonna
Morgan.
get pissed off. It seems.
The mouse joins them for each of their adventures.
Yeah, I'd hope so.
I want you to guess what items in each book. There's one item in each book that they need to help Morgan. This is part one of game time. So the book that we're reading is called Night of the Ninjas, and they need to find something in this ninja book that will help Morgan. So here's your clues. It has to start with the letter M. That's pretty much it. The object has to start with the letter M. And they need 4 items that start with M. They need one in the ninja book.
I came up with a system, Ethan, to help us do these games better. We'll take turns starting, and if the person who starts gets it, then they get it. But if they don't, the other person can steal.
Okay.
So do you want to start this one?
I'm guessing a moonchaku.
No.
No, the answer is obviously mask, as a ninja mask.
Okay, none of those are correct. So
what? That's bullshit.
So I'm also
a good guess, CJ.
This is where I start questioning the validity of the facts that she puts in these books. For example, like putting a stick in the ground and figuring out which way is east in the moonlight or something. I don't know.
In the moonlight? That's different than in the daytime.
I know, right? Anyway.
The question there is find east using the moonlight and a stick. And then the follow-up question has to be, what is the exact date and time right now? And then I guess I have them all memorized and I'll figure it out from there.
And also like what latitude and longitude you're at, because like that'll change.
Yeah, also did you ask the validity of what's in the books? Because if I recall, we were in ancient Egypt's fighting ghosts, which although
helping ghosts.
Okay, well, I don't think that the mummy was like biographical in nature, so
well, they're helping her spirit to pass on to like the death, pass on to what is it? Underworld?
The shadow realm.
The shadow realm. I don't remember what the Egyptians called death realm.
Right.
But yeah, so they got a moonstone from a ninja master, and he's like, "This will help you find your missing friend." And then
I don't think we're gonna get any of these in the future.
Well, you
we'll
might.
Try.
You might. Okay,
Sure.
the next one is the book Afternoon on the Amazon. So they're in the Amazon. I think this is the first time there's like the implications of like no time traveling. Like they just show up in the Amazon rainforest. Like there's no people.
Okay.
That is where you'd expect to find a tree.
So it could in theory be a different time, but like.
But they're not
in
on
a forest. There's no way to tell.
They're not on like a steamboat. It's not like the river cruise.
I have a guess.
Well, you have to wait till I go because I get to go first now.
Okay.
Mud. They have to get some river mud.
Okay.
They have to get a monkey.
Oh, you're close. So they the monkey is the one who gives them the object. So what object would a monkey give him?
Mud. Still,
mango.
It's just,
it is a mango. Good job.
It's a mango.
They get a mango.
Mangoes are indigenous to Asia, by the way.
Well,
so
the monkey gave him a mango in the Amazon
I'm just
rainforest,
that much smarter for guessing it.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't
Sorry, I
even
didn't
have
think that they would just have any fruit there. Oh, the monkey went to it's actually future times. The monkey went to the gas station that was just outside of the children's field of vision and got a margarita mix for them. And that's what it was.
I love that.
So the one of the silly things about this one was that the theme, like sometimes they try to the author tries to shoehorn like lessons to be learned.
Yeah,
And
it's
the
good
lesson to be learned about this one is everyone should just
Avoid
leave the
the
rainforest
samurai.
all alone. Just don't mess with it. Which is fair.
I agree with that.
Now, book 3 is the book Sunset of the Saber-Tooth. So, what M thing could they need from the time of a saber-toothed tiger? Ethan.
You get to start, Ethan. I know the right
Oh,
answer though.
God. The same thing that saber-toothed tigers need. Meat.
Unfortunately, it is not meat.
It's a
CJ.
hunk of meat. It's a mammoth tusk.
Oh,
It's 2 words.
Oh, that's really close.
That's
It's I would give you the point for it. So
Well, you're the judge, so.
so before I reveal the item, there's like some bullshit about this. Is that were coming back from like a swimming lesson or like coming from the pool, and they were walking home and like, oh my gosh, the treehouse is there. Let's go up. And they're like in their swimsuits, and they get transported to like the Ice Age, and they're still in their
die.
swimsuits.
Yeah, so they would perish from exposure. I mean, is the interior of the house heated? Like, is it like an actual
it's
house?
No, it's a tree house. Like it's a tree
Yeah,
house.
then they would die in moments.
So they end up borrowing warm clothing that they found like on the ground, like hanging up. From laundry
classic white people
the
borrowing
Cro-Magnons.
stuff from the natives.
Yeah, and then instead, so in return for like taking the warm clothing,
They gave them smallpox.
No, they gave them their swimming towels that might have had smallpox and goggles in return. That was that they
Okay.
decided was a fair trade.
What are they gonna use? Maybe it's snowy. Okay.
And
that's
they
a cool
somehow-
answer.
They somehow knew they needed to find the master of animals because they're a sorcerer. And maybe mammoth was the thing they needed. No, it's not mammoth. But
Maybe?
it was a flute made from mammoth bone. So
Okay, I definitely
Close.
get that. That's
Yeah, you
bullshit
get
because
that.
flute doesn't even start
I
with
know.
M.
it's a flute from a mammoth bone was the
Mm.
silliness.
Yeah, got it.
So yeah, they just dropped the coats in the middle of the icy tundra just in hopes of they'll find their clothing again.
Yeah,
And they come back.
I'm sure they did.
Okay, the last item they need to find is, I believe the score is 1 Ethan, 1 CJ right now.
Yeah, 1-1. And
So-
advantage me, baby. Let's go. I got
It's,
this.
Midnight on the Moon.
Moon rock. Wait, they already did that. A second moon rock. A rock from the moon.
Okay, it is not.
They go to get a moon rock, and it's the same rock.
It's there was only 3 things, but 2 of them are the same thing between times.
No, it was not a moon rock. Ethan, do you have a guess?
I think that these have been silly so far, so
They've been
I'm
pretty
going
silly.
to say they find the Mars rover.
Could be like a moon rover. You could have gone with that because they're on the moon.
No,
That
we
was gonna
already
be
had
my
a
backup
moonstone. It is a moon rover. That'd be silly. That'd be
It is-
nonsense.
It's
What
none of those
is
things.
it?
So before I reveal, I need to highlight
God.
some important things. So they left at midnight during a full moon, and this is the first time in the series that they've gone to the future. In the moon
Surely.
book, they landed in a moon base. And it says in the book that they're reading, a moon base was built on the moon in the year 2031.
Oh, hey, we're coming up to that.
Yeah. So they traveled to 2031 in a moon base. They found the original flag from the moon landing, apparently, and it definitely still had stars and stripes on it. And was
Well,
it
it's
sun bleached?
factually incorrect.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
know.
just white now.
Yeah, right?
If it's there at all.
Then there's a mysterious moon man that helps them because they made the choices to just put on conveniently child-sized astronaut suits and like go in a rover and leave, and they didn't check their oxygen levels. And the mysterious moon man gives them a picture of a constellation that looks like a mouse.
That's not even moon related.
It's not
Mhm.
Because
so,
the moon's in space. Everything's in space.
So the fourth object was in fact the mouse that had been traveling with them the entire time.
Why'd they have to give him a picture of a constellation shaped like a mouse? By the way, constellations in the sky don't have little lines connecting to them.
They had to
which means
connect
that
them. It was like basically connect the dots picture.
they could whatever. That's so outrageous. The like the mental gymnastics you needed to you could have just drawn a mouse for them
Could have.
and been like it was a mouse that you were
Could
supposed
have.
to get.
But so they went back to the moon base and they chanted Moonstone, Mango, Mammoth Bone, Mouse. And that was their chance to turn the mouse back into Morgan Le Fay.
Oh wait, how many words did Morgan write? Okay, she wrote help me, under a spell, find fourth thing. She could have wrote those words and then go to moon instead. And that would have been a probably more straightforward way to make sure that these brain dead children help you shapeshift back.
So a valid question is, she can already shapeshift. Why was her being a mouse such a problem, right? So she was under a spell. She was turned into a mouse against her will. And
Oh, that's not cool.
as a bonus point guess, so this is going to go to Ethan, because CJ guessed first last time. Ethan,
Okay.
who do you think turned her into a mouse?
Merlin.
Yes.
Okay,
Merlin
I
turned
win.
her into a mouse. You get another point.
That's bullshit. That's way too easy. I would guess Merlin.
Get wrecked.
Well, there's going to be plenty more chances for
the
points.
one I had advantage on was like
Mouse.
the mouse. That's stupid.
you were talking such hot stuff too, like advantage CJ. Couldn't even
whatever.
guess mouse on the moon, no less. It's made of cheese, CJ. There's mice everywhere
The
up there.
the moon is made of cheese. Ethan's right. He's got it. God damn it. Here when he's right. Fuck.
So that concludes Arc 2, The Mystery of the Magic Spell. She's like, thanks for turning me back into me. Peace out. And she just takes the treehouse and leaves again.
Leaves them on the moon.
Well, they get back to Pennsylvania first. So the implication is that all these like people that like help them, including the monkey, like know who Morgan is also. So like the moon man's like, yeah, I know what you're supposed to be doing. Get your shit together and go help her. So it's implied that Morgan has like traveled to these places before and befriended these people and monkey.
Okay.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah.
She befriended these people and she said, Monkey, if
Someday.
ever you see someone else come out of my tree.
Here is a mango.
Basically.
Plant the seed in the ground and grow more fruit from it. So that if a
see?
child ever shows up, you can give them the mango.
I'm going to
Precisely.
burn the book that has you in this time, but the book of you 20 years from now will have its first crop yield.
All right, time for Arc 3 out of 7. The Mystery of the Ancient Riddles. So now we have riddles to solve, gentlemen. And
All right, let's get up and go.
So in this arc, Morgan infiltrates Jack and Annie's dreams because once again, like there's like periods of weeks between these visits, and once again, this is a really long summer. She says in their dreams, "The treehouse is back. I'm waiting," which is
No.
weird.
That's what ghosts do. I don't like
It's
that.
weird. It's weird. Anyways, she's informing the children of their missions. She says Merlin the magician has been up to his tricks again. So I haven't had any time to collect books for Camelot's library. And so she needs their help to help collect books. So she's going to train them to become master librarians for Camelot. But they have to complete a test. And part of that test is to solve 4 riddles.
All right. What are these riddles?
All right.
I have an adult brain. I play video games.
I will
can solve
even
riddles.
give you the book title to like help you with the riddle. So
Oh,
this
thank
book,
you.
an
this-
unnecessary
You're
crush,
you're
but very
too
well.
kind.
the book is Dolphins at Daybreak. Okay.
Mhm.
And it is rough as gray. Excuse me. Dolphins at Daybreak. And it is
Yeah.
riddle 1. Rough and gray as rock. I'm plain as can be, but hidden deep inside, there's a great beauty in me. What am I?
It's an oyster. It's an oyster.
It is an oyster. Good
That
job.
one's That one's for babies.
So
Babies.
we were tied up 2-2 right now.
Wow. Wow.
So they end up traveling to Dolphins. The time of the Dolphins? Question mark? Unclear.
The distant future, right?
Dude,
Uh-huh.
I love they just like they go over, they see like this this book says the time of dolphins. It's just this is.
Uh-oh. I hope that's not soon. The time of man is over, Ethan. The time of dolphins is
time
nigh.
of dolphins.
So long and thanks for all the fish is how
Yeah,
that concludes.
basically.
But so they go hang out with dolphins. They fuck around with a submarine that they shouldn't have. They almost drown. The dolphins save them. And the dolphins give them an oyster because that's what the riddle's supposed to be. All right, riddle 2. Riddle 2. Now, this book in particular I will be spending time on, but we'll get there. So this book is called Ghost Town at Sundown. All right. So Ghost Town at Sundown, the riddle. Out of the blue, my lonely voice calls out to you. Who am I? Am I?
Out of the blue, my lonely voice calls out to you.
Who
An
am I?
echo?
Am I? It is an echo. Very good
Okay.
job. It is an echo. Okay, so now this book we have to take a pause here because this is where the time travel implications become very clear. So they go back to a Wild West town that has been abandoned. So it's a ghost town. Amazing. That's why it's called Ghost Town at Sundown. They put on clothes that are conveniently there to, fit into the ghost town chic. They ran into a guy named Slim Cooley.
Awesome. Fuck yeah.
All right.
Slim Cooley,
I trust this man.
Slim Cooley thinks a group of rustlers stole his Mustang. So they work together to recover
His
the
convertible,
Mustangs.
right?
And he gives the kids nicknames of Shorty and Smiley, like a good cowboy would. Slim tells the story of Lonesome Luke, who had played Red River Valley on the piano because he missed his girl. And that was the tune that the kids heard in the town. So,
Okay.
wake up and Slim tells them stories by the campfire, and he tells them that he actually came out west to write a book. And then he ended up becoming a Mustang herder somehow. But he originally came out to write a book about the Wild West. And
We all have a lot of dreams when we first start.
And then Annie convinces Slim to let his horses free instead of herding them and write his book instead, right? Because cruelty to animals or something. And Jack was like, hey, you should totally write a book about the Wild West. And he's like, you know what, Shorty and Smiley, that's a great idea. So they go back home and they take a look at the book again that they used to travel. And the book is called Days of the Wild West by Slim Cooley. So they met the author of the book inside the book. And it was published in Dallas in 1895. And in the dedication, it said, with thanks to Smiley and Shorty, 2 strangers who changed my life.
Okay.
So
it's pretty obvious that they're just teleporting into books.
Except they show up in the dedication of this book.
Yeah, but if they just teleported into that book, then it's just an autobiography. I'm more okay with that than the fucking dinosaur book, because then who wrote that? A dinosaur didn't write that, which means it would have been someone writing about dinosaurs, and then they're just kind of in the book about dinosaurs.
But
I'm okay with that.
It's implied that when they're traveling to like an actual like time period with like people in it, they're like actually time traveling and like influencing the events that happen. Of that time period.
Are there 2 different kinds of books? There's time travel books, and then there's like dimensional travel books.
Maybe because like the rainforest book, somehow a mango got there, but that's not their fault. I don't know.
That's how you know it's an alternate reality, because in that reality, mangoes grow.
We're indigenous.
In the
dolphins don't write books. They don't have hands. They can't use computers. Who wrote the dolphin book in the time of the dolphins?
Dimension book,
don't know,
CJ.
man.
This is some bullshit, dude. I don't know. I think it's honestly less likely that a cowboy knows how to read and write than a dolphin, though.
Well, he didn't mean to be a cowboy. He meant to write a book initially. So like it is implied he was literate before he went out.
That's such a weird thing to fall into.
His
It's
Mustang
just like
herding?
I wanted to be an author, but I had to wrangle Mustangs instead.
All right, riddle 3. CJ, you're up.
Oh my god, we're doing. Oh yeah.
I'm the color of gold. Oh, sorry, the book title. Apologize. It is
You said
lions at lunchtime.
Oh,
Lions at lunchtime. I'm the color of gold and as sweet as can be, but beware of the danger that's all around me.
honey,
What am I?
it's honey. It's
It is
honey.
honey.
This,
It is honey.
This episode is sponsored by no one. We're the only podcast you listen to that has no advertisements in it. You're welcome.
So they travel to the African Sahara, I believe, and they hang out with some wildebeests. They befriend an elephant, right? They befriend a lot of elephants in this series, it turns out.
Elephants
the
are
bird
cool.
the bird
Yeah, they're
tells
smart.
Annie, they run across a bird and it tells Annie to go to a beehive. So yeah, they are getting help from the animals in these books, so they're not figuring out the riddles on their own. And then a mussy warrior shows up and stares them down. And they're
Cool.
like, "You're taking my honey." And they're like,
Yeah, and kills them.
and
They're white
like,
devils.
well, to appease the mussy warrior, they make a peanut butter and honey sandwich for them all to enjoy and have a picnic.
Where'd they get the peanuts from?
They had peanut butter
Yes.
sandwiches with
Shaq
them.
always
already.
carries peanut butter on him.
They were coming back from something and they just had it with them when they got there.
Fair enough. Depending on the time period you're in, peanut butter is as good as gold.
It's delicious. All right. Fourth and final riddle. Ethan, this book is called Polar Bears Past Bedtime. And
Oh, I like that one.
yeah, it's cute. I cover what's real and hide what's true, but sometimes I bring out the courage in you. What am I?
Holy shit, dude. Get fucked, dum-dum.
Yeah, that one seems like it's a little harder than honey.
It is the last riddle for them to become master librarians. Even,
Uh-huh.
So it has to be a little harder.
And what was the name of the book again?
Polar Bears
Polar-
Past
Yeah,
Bedtime.
like that's gonna fucking help you, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the answer is, it's a mask.
It is a mask.
All right, cool.
Good job.
God.
Ethan is in the lead 4-3 at this time. So Morgan sent a seal hunter from the book to help them. Oh no, she sent a seal
To
hunter.
kill them.
Is this book pro seal hunting as well?
Yes, he teaches them about clubbing seals.
Yes, he shows it.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
she visits the seal hunter in his dreams and is like, "Go help these children." And so he shows up at the treehouse with like clothing to make sure they don't freeze to death. And
Always got to take care of that. Yeah.
yeah, and so he like helps them out, and they
What did they wear in the dolphin time?
They just I don't know
The
if they were
same
at
the same swimsuit outfit.
Oh,
same
okay.
swimsuit from before probably.
Okay, it wasn't like underwater. They weren't wearing diving suits.
So Jack ends up stealing this seal hunter's like masks from his like hut. So
White people,
theft, right? They put on the masks that they stole because they were trying to like.
This continues our grand tradition of having like white treasure hunters steal things from natives in every single thing we talk about.
It's true.
It's
Yeah,
just
so they
art
steal the
imitates
mask.
reality.
They steal the mask to blend in with the polar bear, so the polar bear treats them as its children, and the polar bear teaches them how to walk on ice without falling
What
through.
the Majora's
Oh,
Mask
that's
fuck is
so
this?
rad.
All right, so ta-da! They did it. They got the mask.
Children
Bring it
weigh
back.
less than polar bears. They would have an easier time walking on ice than polar bears.
Not in this place, I guess. But
Shit.
yes, surprise! That wasn't the final riddle. Morgan says there's one last riddle you must solve. And in the fifth scroll, you have to look at the letters. The first, not the rest, and discover the place that you love best. So, taking a look at all the objects that they brought back with them, which were an oyster, right?
Honey mask.
oyster,
Yeah, it's his home.
Yeah.
Echo, honey, mask. CJ, you're up for guessing the riddle.
Yeah, it's just home.
It is
It's
home.
a
It's home.
shitty
Yep.
whatever acrostic.
It is home. It is home. Congratulations, you guys are tied once again. So
We
the answer
telepo-
is
we-
home. And they have passed the test to become master librarians, and they get a sweet wooden library card that says master librarian and
God of
only-
these worlds.
I was gonna say like Ichigo's battle pass that lets him push his soul out of his body to fight hollows.
CJ,
Well,
we haven't
they
done
are-
that series yet.
They are
God,
now
if only.
members of the Ancient Society of Master Librarians, meaning that there
Oh,
are
it's an
other Master
Illuminati card.
Librarians. in-
Yeah, but she said that only these two kids and her have seen this treehouse.
Well, only a very wise person or another Master Librarian can see the M and the L on these cards. So, like, only certain people can.
So wait. So to everybody else, it just looks like you have a piece of wood, like.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And these children are just carrying around pieces of wood.
Cool.
Oh, I love it.
All right. Now, that was the end of Arc 3. Arc 4 is the Mystery of the Lost Stories, and those Master Librarian cards play an integral role in this arc. This is where shit gets wild, and like lots of children in peril, and probably when the PTSD starts. So,
Okay.
Morgan sends them on their first missions as Master Librarians, and so her reasoning is that there's been many libraries lost to history. So they have to go back to the times of these libraries before they were destroyed to recover some of the stories and bring them back so she can put them in her library in Camelot. So in the book, Vacation Under the Volcano, they have to recover the text, and it's all in Latin, and I can't pronounce it. Ver vortissimus in mundo. And she leaves them with an ominous message of, in your darkest hour, only the ancient story can save you. Morgan sends these kids to Pompeii.
Heck yeah. All right.
Literally like 30 minutes before the volcano starts erupting.
Why wouldn't it be earlier? Why wouldn't you go
I
the
know!
fucking month before?
No, that's why I'm like fucking crazy.
Did they just finish that book?
Also,
Like,
She-
my
Nice work.
magnum opus.
she
to
literally
be
could
preserved
have
forever.
gone to this time period her fucking self, but she sends children to go
Well,
to
what's the point of
Pompeii.
having children laborers if you don't send them to go into the mines, as it were?
Also,
Uh-huh.
here's there's a lot of ash. Here's the other bullshit part. So you remember how like in previous books they would show up in like icy cold places and like could potentially freeze to death?
Yeah.
Now they just show up in the right clothing.
Hey,
Oh, well,
well,
it's
that's the
magic.
power of being a master librarian. That piece
Yeah.
of
That's
wood.
So
gives you-
from this point forward, they are just given proper clothing for this time and every time so they can blend in with everybody else or so they don't die. So that is something she probably could have done for them previously, but fuck them, right? They're children to die in the mines.
Ethan's right. You gotta
Yeah.
test them.
I'm
So-
sorry. I'm not able to give that to any but a master librarian. Everyone
You don't
else they
under-
can freeze.
You don't understand, Fran. You don't have children. If you have a child who's freezing to death, you don't give him a coat. You give him a deer carcass and a knife, and you say, "All right, child, survive."
Annie had a premonition before they like went to the library to find Morgan for this mission, and she had a dream where she dreamed that fires were burning, everything was smoky and dark, and that the ground was shaking.
Okay.
So just, ominous dreams. And then sorry, it's not 30 minutes before the volcano went off. It was 20 minutes before the volcano was about to go off.
Yeah. Well, if you're gonna cut it close,
Yeah, right?
nothing
so-
speeds thing along like a deadline.
Yeah. So they
That's-
show up in Pompeii on August 24th in the year 79, and the birds aren't chirping. The animals have pieced out already. And Annie's like, this is weird, because she's like the animal girl, right? They
Mhm.
run into a crazy lady on the street that everyone is like, she's crazy, don't talk to her. And she's a soothsayer. But she can read the ML on their librarian card, so that's chill, right? Like,
Oh.
she's fine.
Oh, that's gotta be a real panic moment for her, because if she knows that she's like something really bad's about to happen, and
what's
you're
gonna
here
happen
save
to
the
our
book.
books and us?
Right? And she tells them that the only library in Pompeii is in the house of Brutus, which is currently empty because it's just his vacation home. So, like, he's not there. So,
Okay.
once again, she could have sent them earlier.
Mhm. Well,
'Cause
then
he's not
Brutus
there
would have been
anyway.
there. He would have been in the
Yeah,
way.
then Brutus would have been there. This makes more
Um,
sense. They gotta.
So, they
get
go
in while
to
the
his
kid's good.
house and break in.
Mhm.
And the volcano starts erupting while they're like looking for the book. And the book
Yeah.
turns out to be a scroll because, obviously they don't have books, I guess, at this point in time. So they get the book, they get out, and when they're trying to cross like a stream, the stream starts filling with like volcanic ash and pumice, and they get like swept away in it. And
Oh, they're dead.
but they remember Morgan's ominous reminder of in your darkest hour, only the ancient story can save you. And so they ask the scroll to help them. And suddenly a big strong man lifts them up and out of the stream and puts them back on the ground.
Nice.
And
Okay.
they run back to the treehouse, peace out, give Morgan the scroll. So this is do you guys want to guess for what the story is about, or?
I mean, it's probably Hercules or something.
Yeah,
but
it's Hercules.
I was imagining we were gonna
Nice.
have an Inception moment where they needed to go inside that story from inside this story.
Oh,
No.
to slow down it's because it stops time on the outside. They had to go get a fucking anti-volcano spell or some shit.
Some bullshit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Morgan's like,
Quick,
ah,
write
thank
a
you.
book about the anti-volcano spell. We'll go inside of it.
Shit's fucked up. Anyway, she's like, thanks for recovering the scroll. No mention about the mortal peril. I'm gonna go back to Camelot now. Peace out.
Listen,
See ya.
for my next book, I'm sending you to a place called Nagasaki, and I would like you to collect a book.
Well, the next book, they go to ancient China. They made a point to like name the text in every other book in the series except for this one. And they're just like, here's a picture of some Chinese characters written on a strip of bamboo. And like
Nice.
the author doesn't like write the characters in the text or anything. You can only see what the title is by looking in the picture.
Is it real Chinese text?
I don't know. I don't read Chinese.
Fran, are you telling me that you, the lore master for this series, did
I
not
looked.
look up?
Once again, in the darkest hour, only the old legend can save you. So more ominous. You're going to be in mortal peril
Oh.
again.
This was real scary the last time you said that.
So they go to the time of the Dragon King. And the Dragon King is afraid of the power of books and learning. He wants people to think only what he wants them to think. And he orders the burning of books.
Okay,
And so-
pro book burning. Yeah.
so
there it
they
is.
have to go
He makes them all
retrieve-
wear red hats.
They have to go retrieve
I like that
this
CJ
book.
was like, whatever, and Fran was like, oh, that's good.
I don't know
have
what you're
to
talking
go-
about.
Retrieve this book before it gets burned, essentially. And the burning of books started right when they got to down. So helpful. And conveniently,
Well, that's
they
how
book.
that's how you know where the book is.
Well,
It's there in
conveniently, the
book
book
burning
they
pile.
needed fell off of the pile of books that were burning.
Oh.
And Annie's like,
Nice.
that's the book we need. And so she snatches it. And the king saw her grab it, and like the guards chase after her. And they end up running through a mausoleum where there's eerily lots of statues of like soldiers. They find the terracotta army. Their air starts running out. Their air and light starts running out. And they got trapped
Oh, no, not
inside
light.
of the mausoleum. And they are
Yeah.
they're running out of air. So in literally their darkest hour, they of course have to ask the story for help. And so they got like a spool of silk thread from a lady earlier, and the silk thread jumps out of their pouch and starts like rolling away to like show them the way out of the tomb. The legend was the silk weaver and the cowherd.
Cowherd.
Yeah, the herder of cows is his job. And it turns
All
out
right.
it's like a romance story, and it turns out they met the actual silk weaver and the cowherd, and they were gonna meet for a date that night, and they had to like pass the message back and forth so they could like set up their date.
They were meeting on book burning date night.
Third book, they go to Viking ships at sunrise, which is the Dark Ages in Ireland. So that was kind of fun.
Excuse me, Morgan. Could we please stop going on adventures that have your darkest hour in them?
No.
Right?
You're master librarians.
You're
Didn't you
master
read the
librarians
card?
now.
It's like they couldn't read the card before, but then they got the card and becoming master librarians.
And the
Then it
terms and
says on the
conditions.
card, accepting this card binds you to all of the whims of Morgan.
It's the
From
end user
here-
license agreement, the
Uh-huh.
EULA.
From here on, every hour is your darkest hour.
So they're sent to retrieve something called the Serpens Magna. Magna? Unclear.
It's pronounced manga.
No,
All right.
it's Ireland, not
Easy
Japan.
now.
For fuck's sake, they took me Bleach comics. For fucking hell, what's gonna happen to Ichigo?
I
We
love that
haven't
little
done the Bleach
strawberry.
episode yet. So they end up in ancient Ireland on a cliff, not a tree. One of the few times
Yeah.
they're not in a tree.
There's
And
no trees in Ireland.
they end up meeting Brother Patrick, who
Rad.
shows them around his monastery. That's on
This is me fucking monastery.
Yeah.
Here's all my Full Metal Alchemist books. It's called mangas.
He
I've got
explains
them
that
all
they
here to
copy.
keep them safe from the snakes, don't you know?
Basically, they copy Christian stories, which is essentially manga, and the old
Oh.
myths of Ireland. That's what they
Mhm.
write in that their monastery.
I love it.
But the problem is that they arrived too soon because Brother Michael is currently copying down the story that they need, but he has
Yeah,
not
see?
finished it, so they'll have to come back at a different time. And they're like,
Okay.
"Oh, okay. Well, they head back to the treehouse and like, okay, we'll be back later." And then on their way, they're like, "There's 3 Viking ships," and they go back to warn the monks, "Hey, there's some Vikings coming to murder all of you and like burn down your monastery." And so Brother Michael gives them the unfinished copy of Serpens Magna. I was supposed to say manga. Curse you. So to escape from the Vikings that are chasing them, they jump into one of the boats and like get lost at sea a little bit. And they're like, "Well, shit, we're lost at sea now." And so they ask the book for help, and it's a giant sea serpent. And it brings them back to shore and puts them in their treehouse, and they come back. And the story is about a sea serpent named Sarf.
I kind of feel like it becomes my darkest hour when the sea serpent shows up. I would definitely have a shit my pants moment of like, we asked too soon and we got the bad one.
Like you're always being afraid. Like if you told a child that, they would never ask for help. 'Cause you're like, is it too soon? I don't know. That is very scary because 9 out of 10 things in Irish mythology do try to just drown you. So if you saw
Right.
that, you'd be like, oh, it's one of those.
Oh, all right.
So the last book in the series of Peril. So the name of this book is written in Greek. It's Pi Iota Gamma Alpha Sigma Omicron Sigma. It has that's the title, and they get to go to ancient Greece, and they're at the Olympics. Woo! Olympic time. Well, Annie gets really upset because only men and boys are allowed to go watch the Olympics. Girls aren't allowed.
Mhm.
Yeah, because there's
So-
a bunch of dicks everywhere.
So the theme of this book is that girls are inferior in this time period and should not be seen or heard. Really.
It's not that girls are
In this
inferior. They're just
time
worse at
period.
wrestling, and they don't have
Well,
cocks
no, they're
to
not even.
grab.
They're not even allowed to watch the Olympics. They can't even like.
Yes, because there's men cocks to the breeze, rolling around in mud.
I mean, you know, the reality is they're like, I would just feel really self-conscious if a girl saw me lose. So like,
Right.
I'll compete with you guys, but we can't let any of the girls watch us.
Oh, I don't
okay?
want any of the girls to see me because they'll make a statue of me and they'll make my penis really small.
Well, they run into Plato.
Did
Here.
you see how small they made David's penis? I don't want that to happen to me, man.
They run into Plato, and it turns out Plato can read the Master Librarian card.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, he's a pretty smart dude.
And so he's like, "Oh, I know what you're looking for. It's a poet. It's a poem written by my poet friend."
Oh God, are we about to get Pompeii? Is that?
But
That happened like last week for us, man.
But he can't tell them who wrote it. He can just like bring them to the person who wrote it because it's a secret.
It's more
Okay.
dramatic.
Secret. And Annie learns about how girls like can't go to school and like all that stuff. And it turns out the secret poet is a woman. Gasp. Annie secretly enters the Olympics because she's like, this is bullshit, and she like
And she-
dresses up.
And she
somehow
gets
sneaks in.
wrecked because it's for adults.
Because
Well, yeah,
it's,
so they
because
figure
she's
out
7.
she's a girl, and the guard seizes her, and then seizes, and then
That's
Jack
actually
is
a
like,
really good joke, Fran. I can't believe you stepped on your own joke.
Jack is like, "Oh my gosh, I have to help my sister. Scroll, help!" And it summons Pegasus, and then Pegasus like shows up in a chariot, rescues
Yeah,
Annie
rad.
and Jack, and takes him back to the magic treehouse. So that's cool. So there is one point to be won here, because it turns out in this Arc of Peril, there is something that ties all 4 of these stories together.
Danger.
And I believe it is CJ who is up to determine what ties Hercules, the Silk Weaver, and the Cowherder, or the Cowherd, the Sea Serpent, Sarf, and then Pegasus. What ties those 4 myths together? This is a harder one.
I was gonna say that they're all myths, but then you said they're myths, so now I have to rethink my answer. Materials that you
Sarf
make
is a
into
material?
yeah, he's got scales that you make into clothing. They're all made of clothing. Hercules had the fleece. Pegasus has feathers.
Mm-hmm.
Scales, as mentioned.
That is this is incorrect. I'm sorry
And
to tell you.
I gotta be honest, I kind of zoned out during the Chinese one, so
It's okay. So CJ's incorrect. So Ethan, you have the option to steal a point and come out in the lead. What do you think ties these 4 stories together?
Whew, I will say that they are. I have no fucking idea what ties these together.
Okay. So where can you find myths? I guess
in the library.
besides the library.
In the hearts of the children.
In the stars. So all of these stories have constellations that are like
That was
Okay.
from the
after them.
first series. That's not from this one.
That's again the Chinese one very much threw me off. As
Well, turns
what
out the Chinese had
constellation
a
is that?
constellation for the Silk Weaver and the Cowherd.
Yeah,
Okay.
Ethan knows all the constellations except the Chinese ones, so that's probably why I was confused.
Yeah. This next arc I lovingly call the Arc of PTSD. Essentially, this is when we go to war times.
Nice.
Hell yeah. Thank God.
So this is the mystery of Morgan's library. So once again, Morgan is nowhere to be found, but the Treehouse has a note saying Camelot is in trouble. To save the kingdom, please find these 4 special kinds of writing for my library. Something to follow, something to send, something to learn, and something to lend. Thank you, Morgan.
I thought that was the
And-
thing you were supposed to bring to a wedding.
For something to follow, she left a book out for them about the Civil War. And Jack goes, cool.
Brother
Civil
killing
War.
brother.
They follow the Union Jack because they know the right side of history.
No, yeah, I was gonna say she's like an alt-right. Turns out she's alt-right. She's like, follow the truth. It was about states' rights all along.
That is what I was taught growing up. So they go to the time of the Civil War, and Jack's like, cool, the Civil War. This is going to be awesome.
This
And,
is gonna be
the
radical.
The
I
first
can't
thing
wait
they
to
see,
kill Yanks.
Well, the first thing they see is a lot of injured soldiers, and one falls down, and Annie's like, I have to help him. And they go, and
Just
she drags.
Pulls out a saw.
Yeah, I was
They-
gonna say, does she know how to saw a leg off?
Well, she volunteers her and Jack to go to a field hospital and become
Yes.
volunteer nurses.
All right, asked and answered.
And the young nurse hands them a piece of paper with the guidelines of nursing. And here are the things you should follow, which is why this is their first item to bring home. So they choose, Annie volunteers them to go to the field and like pick up injured soldiers on the battlefield, where there's like cannons and shit. And the important part is they go back to Frog Creek, Pennsylvania, and there's like a big boom in the distance. And Jack is like, oh shit, am I still in war times? So this is the beginning of the PTSD.
Okay.
Cool.
And he panicked and thought they were still in the Civil War and didn't make it
Fire
back
in the
home.
sky.
And they go back home and they ask their parents, did we have any relatives in the Civil War? And it's like, why, yes, their great-great-great-grandfather was a drummer boy named John. So the implication is that they helped their great-great-great-grandfather not die.
Oh, if they didn't save him, they would have disappeared like Marty McFly in Back
Right?
to the Future.
And it turns out he went on to become a school teacher. Fun fact. All right.
What's your injury? Oh, I took a shrapnel to the testicles. No!
So here's the other bullshit is that the next one, the something to send, they get to go back to the Revolutionary War.
Awesome.
And,
Second favorite war.
Okay, this is CJ, you gotta go first.
Awesome.
We'll
I know
see
everything about the
this is
Revolutionary
your
War.
knowledge of history.
Yeah,
What
I got it.
happened on December 25th, 1776?
They all teabag the British.
It was not the Boston Tea Party.
No, I says the Boston teabagging. It's different.
Well, but still, it's incorrect. Ethan, what happened on December 25th, 1776?
The crossing of the Delaware.
Yes, that is correct. That is
All
the time
right.
they get to go to. You are in the lead with 5 points to 4. So,
Sacrificed my points for funny jokes.
yes.
worth it, though.
So, they show up when they're getting ready to cross the Delaware stealthily because they're trying to ambush the British, right? And the captain of the troops gives Jack and Annie a letter to give to his children who happen to live in Frog Creek, Pennsylvania, of if I don't make it, make sure my children read this letter. This letter contains the words of George Washington, which was the words of Thomas Paine. And there's
I'm
something
pretty
to say.
sure it was probably written down somewhere else if Thomas Paine already said it, but whatever.
No, but this letter they need to, just in case. So
People
Annie,
need to know that this guy quoted this other guy.
and the implication here is that Jack and Annie gave the courage to George Washington to re-rally his troops to make sure they cross that Delaware on that Christmas night. So without Jack and Annie, the Revolutionary War
America wouldn't exist.
America wouldn't exist, is the implication. They need something to learn. This is when they visit the Kansas Prairie. So-
In wartime or just normally?
Just, it's in the wagon covered
Okay, sure.
Okay.
time of the Oregon Trail.
And
And
they get dysentery and they learn that they shouldn't drink shit water.
Well, they learned that schools were run by 16-year-old girls because those were the people who were school teachers at the time.
Yeah, the smartest people in society.
So she makes them write down words about if at first you don't succeed, try again. So fun. And they're like, okay, we learned it. And they're going to peace out to their treehouse. And then the sky looks really weird. So as a Kansan, I'll tell you, when there's a storm a brewing, the sky gets real weird colored. Sometimes it turns green out there. It's very unsettling. They see a funnel cloud on their way. And they're like, shit, we got to tell the school that there's a cellar in that schoolhouse because they don't know there's a cellar. And
because it's written on the wall in words.
No, because it's written in the book that they're reading that there's a cellar in the schoolhouse. So the implication is that they're going to a specific schoolhouse that was written about in this book. And they run back to school, warn them of the tornado, help them into the cellar. Jeb was helpful because he was big strong boy who opened up the cellar. And they survived the tornado peril.
I thought this is where it ends.
And then they get their little try again, and they go get something to lend. This is oh my gosh, this is also a fucked up place that Morgan sends them. This is the next, what date happened, or what important event happened on this date? CJ, or no, it's Ethan. Sorry, CJ started the last one. Ethan, it's to you. What happened in San Francisco, California in 1906?
A big fire?
What? No, it was an
That's half
earthquake,
right.
you fool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
CJ, you are
right.
correct.
It's
It
the
is-
San Francisco earthquakes.
It is the San
famously
Francisco
the worst
earthquake.
earthquakes in American history.
It did lead to fire, but it was the earthquake that was the important part. And of course, before they went, Jack's like, I've always wanted to go to California. And Annie's like, me too. This is going to be great. They show up at 5 a.m. because the bells on the church chime at 5 a.m. And guess when
Annoying
the earthquake
everyone
happens?
trying to sleep. 5:01.
It happens at 5:13. So
Okay,
it's
pretty close though.
Pretty close. So yeah, the earthquake happens at 5:13, and they didn't read the book ahead of time to like warn them of that.
How?
So they're just like,
do they
they're just
not
like-
read the book ahead of time at this point?
Because
it tells them
Annie-
exactly what's gonna happen.
because Annie is very impulsive and is like, let's go. So they're in the middle of the street, and then the earthquake happens, and they get like flung apart from each other. Annie ends up in the ground. Then the fires start. And then one of the things they did to try and stop the fires was they used dynamite to blow up buildings. And if you remember, Jack has PTSD from big boomy noises from the Civil War. And so after like all of this, he's trying to like read the book and like hold it, but his hands are trembling too much in order to like actually be able to read.
Jesus.
And
It's just
so
weeping on the ground.
they try to help these boys and their mother by giving them their shoes, because the boys are trying to escape and their feet are all cut up because there's glass everywhere from the broken windows. And Jack and Annie are like, here, take my shoes. And they're like, thanks, here's a sign. And the sign says, there is no water and still less soap. We have not city, but lots of hope. And that's what they get for their shoes. And that's something to lend.
That's a sign from a That's like a sign from a picture that is what they had after the earthquake to like try and get help.
So the implication.
Why did they have that during the earthquake?
Well, it's
Were
after
they like
the
thinking
quake.
ahead?
I don't know.
That's
man.
like the first thing they did was like make a sign, and they're like, "Man, this is gonna catch some attention, some media attention."
Yeah, the implication is that they wrote the sign while there's like fires breaking out, and they're trying to like save the money in the bank and like save the books and
Fucking
they just had this time to
influencers,
write
man.
the sign. And there was a journalist running around going, "What's the story?" and taking pictures and shit. And
I am here for a scoop.
Yeah, basically. And she takes a picture of Jack and Annie holding the sign. So it's implied that they're the children in that famous photograph after the earthquake.
Whatever.
And all of these pieces of paper / things are supposed to help the kingdom of Camelot. So how do these writings help Camelot? Well, Morgan, for the first time, allows Jack and Annie to travel to Camelot with her. And they take them to the library that they've been helping. They needed to help King Arthur because King Arthur is very sad and depressed.
Bummer.
Because him and his knights have been defeated and he's given up all hope for his kingdom.
Aw.
And Morgan's like, you know what'll give this king hope? Children. Children going through peril.
The misery of others, yeah.
Getting PTSD. And coming to
He's
give
like-
him pieces of paper with lessons.
Yes, I like
That's
this.
funny.
Yes.
So they read him all of like the messages that they've collected. The King Arthur asks, "Are you magic?" And they're like, "Oh no, Morgan's magic. We're just ordinary kids." And he's like, "Well, I'm an ordinary king, and if ordinary children can learn these lessons, so can I. Hope is restored to the kingdom." And
I declare it. Be hopeful, idiots.
and I must go talk to my knights at once.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go. They saved Camelot because they helped
Thank
King
God.
Arthur not be depressed. The mystery of Morgan's rhymes. Here's the bullshit. I hate this one. So, she's decided that she is going to train them to become magicians. They're no longer master librarians. They're going to
This
become
sounds awesome.
magicians. But
Yeah.
here's the thing. They are going to learn a magic that does not need charms or spells. You'll find a special magic on each of your next 4 adventures. And this is the last game we will play. All right.
I want to make an early guess. Is the magic friendship?
Not the first one. So
Now it's chastity.
wrong episode. Okay, who went first last time? Ethan. CJ, it's your turn to go first.
Fuck yeah.
I
Ethan doesn't
will
even know
give
about
you the
earthquakes.
name of the book they go into and
Okay.
the riddle. So the
Okay.
book is Merry Old England
Love
with an
riddles,
E
dude.
after old. Okay.
Yeah.
The riddle is to find a
Is that
special
part of- okay.
magic, you must step into the light and without wand, spell, or charm, turn daytime into night.
Is it just time?
No, it is not time. Ethan.
Is it like the Stonehenge calendar system?
No, it is
Wait,
not.
is it like just patience? Is it like a weird? I don't understand what it's trying to.
You're gonna hate the answer. So let me
Okay.
just
Why? Oh, I hate the question. So
I know, right? It's stupid. It's my least favorite. And so they go to Merry Old England and
You're the one talking about it.
meet up with a guy named Will.
Okay.
It's William Shakespeare.
Awesome.
Neat.
The magic they learn. It's theater magic.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I love that. That's so silly.
All right, book 2 is Ethan, you get to start this one. The book they go into is an African rainforest.
Careful, Ethan. Ethan, be
Right.
careful.
The first one was theater magic.
Ethan, be so careful.
So, Ethan, your rhyme riddle nonsense is to find a special kind of magic in worlds so far apart. Speak a special language. Talk with your hands and heart.
Ethan, be careful.
Well, I think I know the answer, but I'm not supposed to say it. Is
Your guess.
Is it the magic of dance?
No. Not
No.
the magic of dance. CJ.
That was a really good guess.
It was a good guess, but it is not the magic of dance.
Is it sign language?
I'm going to give you a point for it because
Fuck
that is
yeah.
a major plot point to find this type of magic. They go to the African rainforest and meet a baby gorilla named Boo Boo. And they go and hang out with other silverback gorillas. And they read in their book that Coco the gorilla communicated with sign language. And so Annie's like, oh, I learned some sign language in school, and holds up the sign for I love you to the gorilla. And then teaches all the gorillas the sign
She
for I
can
love
just
you.
speak to animals.
Yes, that's how they got through this whole book. But she's teaching them sign language because, gorillas know sign language.
So
And-
for shits and giggles?
Yeah. And so now they all know how to do the I love you sign. And they got a twig from 'em.
What use is that? What?
Well,
Why?
CJ, the magic that they learned is the magic of all animals. So,
What?
right? It's done.
The first one was a pun. This is one is nothing.
The
This is
first one
magic
wasn't
of
even a
animals.
pun.
How
It was
theater
just-
magic? That's a
It's theater
thing.
magic. No, they learned the magic of all animals, and they are it's all stupid. Anyway, the next one. This is why this is my least favorite. It all went downhill. We should have just ended with the PTSD arc and just.
I'm
Hey, you're
getting
talking
about it.
PTSD.
I have
We might
to.
still.
I have to do justice to it. The next one, they go.
Fran hates
CJ.
me. She just wants me to edit more.
Yeah. I do.
Yeah.
CJ, this is for you because you start this one out, right?
Yeah.
They're going into a book called A Feast to Remember.
Nice.
Think of important feasts throughout history.
I know all of them.
And to find a special magic when work and toil are done, gather all together and turn 3 worlds into one. What magic might they be learning?
The magic of friendship.
It is not the magic of friendship. I'm sorry, CJ.
What?
Ethan.
The magic of sharing food.
It does deal with food.
You
This
can't
is
just
like
keep
a-
adding words on
it's
the end
just-
of it till he gets
yeah,
it
it's
right.
just sharing food.
Sharing food with friends and fellowship.
Because I gave
with-
CJ the sign language one, I'm gonna have to give Ethan the sharing food one.
I don't think you have to, but whatever.
Well, you're tied if I do that, so it's okay. So they go to the first Thanksgiving
I
with
thought you
all
were
of
going to say
your-
the last dinner. Damn it. No
with
Jesus
all
in
of your
this one.
favorites of Pilgrims, the Mayflower, Squanto, Priscilla, all your favorites. They learn the magic of community by sharing food with each other. That's the magic they learned.
I forgot what Ethan's answer even was.
It was
so
sharing
whatever.
food. So, yeah. All right, last one. Ethan, you get to try this one.
What were the 3 worlds?
The Pilgrims.
Yeah.
The pilgrims, the pilgrims, the Indians, and God above.
Probably. Last one, Ethan. Last one. They're good. The book is called A Visit to Old Hawaii.
To old Hawaii. Okay.
So to find a special magic, build a special kind of ship that rides the waves both high and low on every kind of trip.
All right. This one is friendship.
It is friendship.
Ugh.
is.
I watched an episode of a really cool podcast, and it taught me that friendship is the most important type of magic.
I mean, it allows you to like summon rainbow magic and like defeat villains. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And beat CJ.
What podcast was that?
Is, at Cooking with Spices?
Nope, that's not what
Nope.
it is.
No.
That's-
Add
we don't own that
spices
one.
with.
We
At
don't own-
Spices with?
Anyway, they go to old Hawaii and they learn how to do the hula, and they get a lei, and they learn how to surf. Jack feels an earthquake and reads in his book that could trigger a tsunami, so he warns the others that there's a tsunami coming, and they get back
So
to the
what? They
village.
can get to high ground. They live in
Yep.
Hawaii.
Yeah, this together so they can get to high ground, and they get to high ground successfully. And then they go back
Okay.
to their village and they do a hula to tell the story of how Jack saved them from the tsunami. And
Thank God for
yeah,
these
How their white
kids.
savior came along.
yeah. Good white
also-
savior.
That also checks
we-
off our bingo box for white savior.
Indeed.
Uh-huh.
We the native Hawaiians we know nothing about how to tell when a tsunami is coming.
Yeah,
We've
of
never
course not.
experienced such a thing
Never
before.
experienced earthquakes and tsunamis. Never.
Oh my
So-
God.
CJ, there is a bonus last question.
What?
Oh fuck yeah! Please, God, Lord in heaven above. Oh, Mother
We-
Mary, Mother of God, please.
So these children learned theater magic, the magic of
Yeah.
all animals, the magic of community, and the magic of friendship. What type of magic do all of these types of magic fit under the umbrella of? Because these are this is magic that does not need charms or spells.
This is life magic as opposed to death magic.
I'm willing to give it to you unless Ethan can make a closer answer.
Yeah, Ethan.
The magic of societal structures and people.
Ooh.
Animals was one of them. You can't include that.
All right, okay, you guys can argue it out a little bit. So the type of magic
Mhm.
that they learned, that they've mastered, they are now masters of everyday magic.
No, neither of us got that, and that's stupid, and that's dumb.
Yeah, they're magicians of everyday magic now, so now they can go help Camelot.
That's not magic. That's just doing stuff. If
Uh-huh.
I go to a Starbucks and I say, conjure me a cafe,
Dude,
I want it black as the night, but do not fright, for in my tummy I would delight. What is it? And they go, coffee? And I'll be like, give it to me.
There's a reason why
That's
this
what
is a
CJ gets out of
bullshit arc.
bank.
So
Oh my god.
yeah, so this all ends and sets up those Merlin missions where it's like the bigger kid chapter books. And so that was
Alright.
Magic Treehouse, where we learned about the magic of PTSD and wartime.
That's just everyday magic, Fran. A little bit of everyday magic. All right. Final open questions. I have one. I guess based on what you've said, Dolphin Realm is canonically either has happened or will happen, and I don't know how or why, but I can't wait.
My god, I don't even know where to go with this one, except that I want more. Now I need to know where Mary Pope Osborne is going to take our children who she was willing to put into the literal civil war.
Uh-huh.
And then she's gonna be like, but now we need to get more serious young
One
adult
of-
time.
Where do you go? What do you do? Well,
For a lingering thought, turns out Camelot is a alternate dimension realm that they travel to. It's not
Mhm,
even like something to be found in time or space. So that's where they go after war, is other
Wow.
dimensions.
guys, that's going to be our podcast for this one. Christ, what a journey. If you want more of this sort of rambling descent into madness, you should follow and like and subscribe. We're going to keep making more whether you like it or not. So why not just acquiesce? Thanks again to our artists who help make this possible. Apogee does the intro and outro. Check them out in the description of the podcast. Galestorm Kitsune for doing the logo and artwork, all the borders around us. It's all good. It's fantastic. And so is this book series. My name has been CJ.
I'm Ethan.
And I've been Fran.
And I will see you all in
Hell.
in
Times of Christ.
I will see you all in Christ before Christmas. And that's the name of the book.